Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? It's Buns. Welcome back to the road to Gladiator. Today we're going to jump back in to do an arena gameplay breakdown. I know it's been a few days since we have done one. Today I've got some games that went exponentially well for us, but I went back and was like, I feel like there was a few things that could have gone better. And I'm also going to look at some games that went really bad for us and kind of start breaking down, well, okay, what could have gone better? We got to start somewhere and then build off of that. And it's good to look at both case scenarios. Sometimes there's games that you can win and you get cocky and you think, oh, okay, well, we can have played that game better. Versus, we have a game that just falls to pieces and it's thinking about where do we start? And then how do we build off of that? So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. One thing I'm a really big advocate of is going back and watching games where you absolutely dominate to see what you could have done better in order to get the game more secure and be more efficient. In this clip, we're playing against Mage, Warlock, Druid, and I snapped the Warlock right away, and I'm looking for the Druid on the side here. Now, I see that this Warlock's sending his pet in, and I know I won't be able to resap, and I assume that the Mage is going in for an opener on our Mistweaver, but instead, the Mage is babysitting back with his Warlock. Now, at this point, I know that their Druid is going to open with a bash on our healer. The thing is that we're both out of position to stop anything on it, and our healer doesn't have Trinket as well too, but the Druid ends up messing up his Cyclone, which gets us a ton of momentum in this match, and this is something that we didn't even take into account for. He ended up making a mistake, but gave us a lot of momentum. Now, the second thing that happens here is you can see this Mage is going for a Polymorph. Now, I have Vanish available here, and my Garrote is off cooldown, so if I'm able to Vanish, I actually can silence the Warlock and then step over and silence the Mage as well too without getting CC'd. Instead, I tank the sheep, then I'm forced to use my Trinket to be able to keep on target with the Warlock, as we already have a lot of pressure. I follow the Warlock here around the corner, and our Ret Paladin and I have huge cooldowns that we can put into this Warlock to do damage. Now you see I get Cycloned up here. Had I had my Trinket right away, I would be able to Trinket and kill this Warlock. We do end up getting the kill, but I'm completely out of the game. And going back and looking at the footage, there was obvious ways that I could have avoided the Polymorph and have kept my Trinket for that Cyclone. Now, on the other hand, it's also really good to go back in games where you played like complete dog shit and realize, okay, well, what happened for us to have that bad of a game? What do we need to do differently the next time? Now, some of this stuff we were actually able to discuss after the game, but I want to go back and highlight it for you guys as I'm doing a breakdown and we're talking about after the fact. So in the actual game here, we get a great opener on the Priest. He's caught into the middle, and that's great for us, even though we do want to go Mage. We did get some big cooldowns from the Priest. Now, immediately, we get his Holy Barrier. We should immediately go to Pillars and get out of that, because that's 50% damage reduction. We're not going to kill anything inside of that, and we got a big cooldown. Instead, we kind of linger around here for a while, and we put ourselves in a spot where we can get CC'd. Now, we retreat back to our Pillar, but we didn't actually know at the time that our healer was jumping back there, so communications and calls didn't match up, and we ended up having our Ret using his bubble, which is really bad for us at this point, because we want to shove our Mistweaver bubble before Ret bubble. So at this point, we're playing very defensive because of a miscommunication in call, and we're having to hug the middle pillar. Now we're trying to get as much pressure here onto the Mage as possible, and we get a good hodge to prevent the sheep from happening. We get a lot of momentum going onto the Mage, stopping him from doing CC, and I see an opportunity once again to go back onto this Priest for some more cooldowns, as we had already gotten Barrier. The Priest ends up Trinketing, which is great too. Now we have Barrier and Trinket out of the way. I decide to use my Vendetta here, lock the kick on the Mage to stop him from being able to do huge damage to us here, and we get really good uptime on this Priest. Now, he uses Rapture here and Pain Sup, so we pretty much are not going to be able to kill with him being able to spam bubbles and have PS on himself. I do notice at this time, and I'm able to get some off pressure onto the DPS and try to shift the momentum here, but I realize we're pretty far behind at this point. Now, they end up getting CC onto our healer, and our Ret's forced in a pretty bad position, and off that fear, I'm just trying to get back into the mix here, get some damage on this warrior, as we do have some pressure going. We end up having to start kiting around the pillar here, and I'm pretty much taken out of the game. We end up once again getting in a situation where we weren't clear on communications, and our Ret Paladin and Mistweaver end up using cooldowns at the same time. So we use Bop and Bubble at the same time. Now, normally when you're playing Ret Mistweaver, anything, you want to shove Mistweaver Bubble before Ret Bubble, because obviously the Mistweaver Bubble's in a lot shorter cooldown if you decide to go with that talent, which is great against this team. We ended up using our cooldowns the opposite way though, and you can see in a game like this now where we have to play very defensive because our Ret Bubble is on CD. Now I am able to land a resap onto the Mage, which was good because we were able to reset here and give ourselves a 3v2 opportunity to push out. We end up getting some damage onto this warrior. The Mage is looking for a sheep, and we end up using kick and in cap at the same time, which overlaps our stops for CC. The mage is able to put us in a position where he is able to get a blink sheep onto our healer here, and with no stop available between the Mistweaver and I, he is able to end up landing that sheep and pretty much securing the game. Had we had lined that up there at the very end, we most likely would have been able to get the kill on the warrior, which was probably undeserved. We played this game pretty mediocre at best, but we still had a really close opportunity to win. So being able in-game to communicate with your partners is extremely important, and this was an example where if we communicate a little bit better as a team and let each other know what's going on for ourselves, we'll have a better idea of what cooldowns we have available to stop CC and to rotate for defensives. This was a great game that we played against another Scooby-Doo team. They're running a Restoration Shaman, and Restoration Shamans do not have great self-defensives after Spirit Link, so we decide that we're going to tunnel him the game and put the pressure on their healer. We get a good opener with the sap onto the Restoration Shaman and get early damage, and we throw out a lot of damage. My Paladin pops wing. We do a good job of killing the Counter-Strike early. We are able to get a lot of early pressure onto the Shaman, and I don't have to use too many defensives here. Now, the Shaman goes for a leap here, and I realize I kicked him, and he's casting now without an immunity bar, which immediately let me know that he is playing with Calming Waters. Calming Waters, after the Shaman gets interrupted, is a talent that they can take that makes them immune to interrupts for 20 seconds after they are interrupted. I recognize this and immediately let my teammates know that he is not going to be able to get away from our interrupts for free, so we should just completely abuse him the entire game. I make my way back over to the Restoration Shaman. I see that my healer gets hexed, so I'm going to use my evasion here to mitigate how much damage I take during this. The cap goes down, but it's very short. We continue our damage on the Resto Shaman, and Vendetta comes out for the rogue. So my monk shoves bubble, which is good. We're doing a great job with our cooldown recognition, rotating efficiently. We're able to land another kick here onto the Shaman. He's having such a hard time keeping up because he didn't pick Swelling Waves and is forced to use Spirit Link. At this point, we're getting a little bit of off pressure here to keep the DPS honest, and I get put into a stun. I realize that we're in a great position to win this game, so I'm going to cloak immediately to take off all of the poisons on myself. We get pressure rolling onto the Shaman again, and we're in a great position to actually win this game. We're able to get another lockout onto the Shaman, and you can see where Swelling Waves is really hurting him. I'm able to now Shadow Step kick his next heal, and this is pretty much the nail in the coffin for our Shaman friend. It was a great job by our team recognizing that he wasn't playing with this talent, and we were able to abuse the fact that he was not playing with it. So we did a great job at making some in-game recognitions to get that win. Thank you guys for watching the video. I threw in a lot of different clips today to give you guys really a different range of where World of Warcraft arenas can go. Some days you have really good games, some days you have bad games, and it's good to be able to see both sides of the coin, look for things you can improve on, but also pat yourself on the back for when areas go well in the game, especially in that last game for us where we were able to recognize in the game that the Shaman was playing with Calming Waters. It really gave us a huge momentum advantage that we were able to recognize that during the pace of the game. As always, appreciate all of the support on the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for everyone that's been extremely supportive of the channel and getting the word out there. Man, it means the world to me, and it's awesome to be able to wake up every single day and just see everyone with the positive comments. Man, it's really awesome. So thanks, guys, for all the support. I will catch you guys on the next video or on the live stream in the afternoon, dudes. Keep it easy, everyone. Peace, guys. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Buns. Welcome back to the road to Gladiator. Today, I'm going to be doing a class breakdown on one of the specs that got a complete revamp in the Legion, and that is Demonology Warlocks. So, among many other specs